friends. Today we will start the remaining part of asymmetric synthesis. This is lecture number 6. First, we discuss the definition of asymmetric synthesis. Friends, in a chemical reaction, any one starting material chiral, then the reaction become asymmetric synthesis. That means the in starting materials are chiral, such a synthesis or such a reaction is called as the asymmetric synthesis. Then the general condition for the asymmetric synthesis reaction are: first thing is that the starting material such as substrate, reagent, catalyst, solvent, out of this one it must be the chiral. Then it produces chiral stereoisomer with unequal ratio. Then we call it is asymmetric synthesis, or such a reaction is a asymmetric synthesis. That means here unequal ratio. The most important is that the chiral stereoisomer with unequal ratio is called as the asymmetric synthesis. Another definition of asymmetric synthesis or the stereoselective synthesis: a chemical reaction or the reaction sequence in which one or more new element of chirality are formed in a substrate molecule and which produces the stereoisomeric or the enantiomeric or the diastereomeric products in unequal amounts, and traditionally called it is asymmetric synthesis. That means here the simple reaction, here the ruthenium catalyst in presence of H2, here there is a reduction of this double bond, and here formations of two different products. That means here one is 97% and another is the 3%. That means we get the unequal ratio of the product or the unequal stereoisomers are formed. Then such a reaction is an example of asymmetric synthesis, or we call it is a stereoselective synthesis. What do you mean by the asymmetric synthesis? A reaction that creates one configuration of new stereogenic elements by action of chiral reagent, chiral auxiliary, or solvent acting on heterotopic or the enantiotopic or the distereotopic phases, atoms or groups of a substrate. This is another definition of asymmetric synthesis. That means here in asymmetric synthesis, the most important is that we get the unequal ratio of the product. Finally, there is unequal ratio of the product. Then such a reaction, such a chemical reaction is an asymmetric synthesis. Next, the asymmetric synthesis, the way forward in asymmetric synthesis. That means to assess enantiomerically pure molecules for biological application as a drugs, sweeteners, and moisturizer, there is a need for adoption of efficient strategy for asymmetric synthesis. Then some strategy of asymmetric synthesis. That means we will cover the two main strategies of asymmetric synthesis, in which number one, first chiral pool synthesis or the chiron approach, and number two, chiral auxiliary approach. First, chiral pool. Friends, the chiral pool is refers to as the collection of enantiomerically pure molecules, and it is available in the nature. That means chiral pool, it is nothing but the collection of enantiomerically pure molecules, and it is available in the nature is called as the chiral pool. And the common chiral starting material derived from the nature include amino acids, chiral carboxylic acids, and monosaccharides. Here some examples of chiral pool, that is natural L amino acids or the alpha hydroxy acids, then natural D sugars, here L serine, S lactic acid, it is present in milk, then D ribose. These are the some a chiral pool, they are the easily available in the nature. Now then, next thing is that the Chiron approach to the asymmetric synthesis. The Chiron approach or the chiral pool synthesis is refers to a synthetic process that employ a member of the chiral pool as a starting material in the synthesis of target molecule. Here, the chiral center in the starting material are preserved in the target molecule. This is most important. The chiral center in the starting material are preserved in the target molecule. Or it may be used pre-existing chiral centers from the chiral pool substrate to influence the formation of new chiral centers. And the new chiral centers can be generated through a substitution or the addition reaction. That means the new chiral centers, it may be generated by the reaction of substitution or the addition reaction. Here the chiral centers in the starting material are preserved in the target molecule, and next the chiral centers can be obtained by substitution or the addition reaction. Next, the chiral pool synthesis, it may be obtained by the functional group interconversion. The chiral pool synthesis of essential amino acids, that is here the best example is L-lysine from the natural non-essential amino acid L-serine, can also be achieved. Here this is the structure of L-serine. Here the first step is the protection of this amine, and we know that for the protection of the amine we use the carboxybenzyl CbZcl in presence of NaHCO3. Here first step is the protection of this amine. Now the next step on treatment with the benzyl alcohol in presence of DCC. Here it protects these carboxylic acids. Next, PCC, we know the role of PCC, oxidations of primary alcohol, we get the aldehyde. Now then wetting reaction, here ketone molecule is wetting reaction, and we get here a double bond. Now the next step, H2 in presence of palladium in presence of carbon, that means here it is for the D-protection of this amine, and here we get the L-lysine. That means D-protection of this amine and also this acid groups, we get the L-lysine. That means it is a best way to create a chiral pool. Next, the chiral pool synthesis, that means the new chiral centers through the substitution reaction. The chiral pool substrate that are commonly used in organic synthesis contain functional group that are poor leaving group. Here the natural L amino acids, now then alpha hydroxy acids, natural D sugars, now then L serine, S lactic acid, and D ribose. These functional groups have to be converted into good leaving group that can be used in a substitution reaction. Next, the chiral pool asymmetric synthesis, that means the synthesis of unnatural amino acids. The chiral pool synthesis of D-alanine from L-lactic acid can be achieved via conversion of para-toluene sulfonate. That means first here the L-lactic acids treatment with the benzyl alcohols in presence of DCC, that means there is protection of this carboxylic acid. Next, on treatment with the para-toluene sulfonyl chloride, here OH it will be converted into OTS. Now then here the SN2 substitution on the tosylate with NaN3 leads to the inversion of configuration at the chiral center. That means NaN3 it will be attacked and it will be the inversion of configuration. That means here the tosylate group it become front side. When NaN3 attack, it is inversion of configuration, it become back sides. Now the next step is to palladium in presence of carbon. There is a deprotection of these carboxylic acids and we get the L-alanine. That means this is the a synthesis of unnatural amino acids. Any synthetic success dedicates for the introduction of the protecting group in the starting material to assist the subsequent functionalization to the target molecule. This is a simple way to generate the chiral pool. Next, chiral pool asymmetric synthesis of natural amino acids. The chiral pool synthesis of L-alanine from the lactic acid can be achieved via the double inversion through the N-iodide. That means here the L-lactic acid, first the protection of these carboxylic acids. Now the next here triphenylphosphine in presence of I2. Note that here the successive SN2 substitution leads to the retention of configuration at the chiral center. That means first this is triphenylphosphine presence of I2 here, which will be depart, and there is insertion of this iodine. Here it become front side, and after addition of this iodine it become back side. That means it is SN2 reaction, that is inversion of configuration. Again further on treatment with sodium nitrite, again this will be attacked, this is back side and it will attack from front side here. That means here inversion into inversion, finally we get the retention of product. And last step is to palladium in presence of carbon, deprotection of this carboxylic acid, we get the L-alanine. That means in this reaction here 2 times inversion, therefore we get the retention of product. Note that the iodination with triphenylphosphine PPH3 in presence of I2 follows an SN2 pathway leading to the inversion of configuration during the formation of the iodide from benzyl lactate. Next, the chiral auxiliary approach to asymmetric synthesis. The next question is that what is a chiral auxiliary? Friends, the chiral auxiliary is a chiral molecular unit that can be temporarily incorporated in a chiral substrate to guide selective formation of one of possible pair of enantiomer. That means here the chiral auxiliary, it is nothing but the molecular unit and can be temporarily incorporated in a chiral substrate to guide the selective formation of one of a possible pair of enantiomers. The chiral auxiliary are optically active compounds and introduce chirality in otherwise achiral starting material. And examples of chiral auxiliary used in the alkylation of enolates. Here, these are the examples of the chiral auxiliary. It is used in the alkylation of the enolates. Now, the chiral auxiliary approach to asymmetric synthesis. Then the next question is that how does a chiral auxiliary work? A chiral auxiliary, it is physically blocks one of two possible attack on an achiral substrate, leaving only the desired trajectory open for a reaction. Since the chiral auxiliary is a enantiomer, the two trajectories are not equivalent but diastereomeric. The temporary stereocenter introduced by chiral auxiliary directs the formations of a second stereocenter, and the stereochemistry of the new chiral center can be rationalized based on steric consideration. This is the actual working of chiral auxiliary. The chiral auxiliary approach for the asymmetric enolate alkylation. This is the first reaction. Here, the optically active carboxylic acid can be prepared with high enantiomeric excess based on the chiral auxiliary approach to asymmetric synthesis. Here, this is simple reaction. Here, N-butyl lithium, it will abstract this more acidic proton. Now then, it become N minus, it will be attacked here, carbonyl, here departure of this chlorine. Now the next, LDA, it will abstract this proton, more acidic proton, and here we get the enolate ion. We call it as Z enolate. Now then next, this will be the addition of this electrophile here. After addition of this electrophile here, LiOH in presence of H2O2, there is a removal of this chiral auxiliary and we get the finally product. That means the A simple role, the chiral auxiliary is attached, and finally after completion of the reaction we can remove the chiral auxiliary and we get the final product. Second example, the chiral auxiliary approach, that is asymmetric synthesis of an antipyretic drug. The antipyretic drug is a level T cream can be synthesized based on the chiral auxiliary approach outlined below. Here again a same mechanism as discussed in previous slide. Now the next, the chiral auxiliary, or the qualities of the good chiral auxiliary is that it should be, that means the whatever chiral auxiliary is used, it needs to be available in both enantiomeric form. That means it is easily available and it should be the enantiomeric form. Here are the examples. Here S enantiomer and these are the R enantiomer. Second, needs to be easy and quick synthesize. That means when you use the S or the R enantiomers or the chiral auxiliary, it easy and quick synthesize. That means this S valine, the natural and cheaper. Therefore, we can use this one because they are easy and quick to synthesize. Next quality, the chiral auxiliary, it must be the readily incorporated onto a chiral substrate. That means this is a reaction. That means the good chiral auxiliary is that it can be easily incorporated into a chiral substrate. Now the next, it should be provide a good level of asymmetric induction leading to the high enantiomeric excess, that is EE, enantiomeric excess. Here the steric bias plays a major role in the facial differentiation. Here LDA to abstract the proton, and here we get the lithium enolate, that means the Z enolate. Now then on treatment with the benzyl bromide, here high asymmetric induction. High asymmetric induction, that means here this group, that means isopropyl group, is the back side. So whatever electrophile comes is opposite to this group. Therefore this is back side and this is front side. That means it should be good a level of asymmetric induction linked to the high enantiomeric excess. The steric bias plays the major role in the facial differentiation. Next, it needs to be the selectively cleaved from the substrate under mild condition. That means after completion of the reaction, the chiral auxiliary, it can be cleaved or it can be recyclized by using lithium hydroxide in presence of H2O2. Here by using lithium hydroxide in H2O2 we can remove the chiral auxiliary. Here the soluble, and this chiral auxiliary, it is soluble in organic solvents and can be separated, and the chiral auxiliary, it can be recyclized. That means the chiral auxiliary, it is soluble in organic solvent or it can be separated, and the chiral auxiliary can be recyclized. It is here, this is soluble in water. And last, must be recoverable and reusable. The good chiral auxiliary is that it must be recoverable and reusable. The terminology of chiral auxiliary approach of asymmetric synthesis or the asymmetric induction. The asymmetric induction refers to control the stereoselectivity excited by the existing chiral center on the formation of new chiral center. This is the most important for asymmetric induction, and this is one property that many strategies in asymmetric synthesis have in common. The aim being to convert enantiomer into diastereomer. Since the diastereomer have the different reactivities, there will be the preferential formation of one diastereomers. A chiral auxiliary with high asymmetric induction provides high enantiomeric excess. Now then, what is mean the asymmetric synthesis? Then what is meaning of the enantiomeric excess, that is EE? The enantiomeric excess is defined as the excess of one enantiomer over the other generated in an enantioselective reaction, and it is usually expressed as percentage of the whole. It is usually gives the measure of the efficiency of the enantioselective reaction, and the enantiomeric excess is calculated by using a simple formula EE, that means enantiomeric excess is equal to R minus S divided by R plus S into 100, where R and S are the amounts of each enantiomer in the mixture. Now then, the advantages of the chiral auxiliary. The level of diastereofacial control in the reaction are usually high, leading to the high enantiomeric excess. That means finally we will get the high enantiomeric excess. Next advantages, the diastereomer generated from the use of chiral auxiliary can be separated by the use of conventional methods, and this conventional method, it may be chromatography and crystallization. Next advantage, chiral auxiliary can be recyclized, that means reused, thus reducing the expense of buying a chiral reagent routinely. The sense of configuration at the newly formed chiral center can be determined by X-ray crystallography. Then the disadvantages of chiral auxiliary. Both enantiomer and chiral auxiliary are usually not readily available. That means both enantiomer of a chiral auxiliary are usually not readily available. So more often one enantiomer may be far more expensive than the other. Chiral auxiliary need to be synthesized. This is a actually disadvantage. The chiral auxiliary need to be synthesized. As with protecting groups, there are extra steps associated with the use of chiral auxiliary. The chiral auxiliary has to be introduced and then removed once its purpose has been accomplished. That means the chiral auxiliary is attached to the starting material, and after completion of the reaction, it can be easily removed. The stoichiometric amount of the chiral template, the chiral auxiliary, is usually required.